It's been a wild year for many reasons, and that includes the cattle markets. Russell Nemitz joins us once again with more on what we can expect for the rest of the year.
All right, thanks a lot, Kevin. And you're right, it has been an unprecedented year for the beef industry in a lot of different ways. Now, here to share some insights on what to expect for the rest of 2020 is Patrick Linnell with CattleFax. And Patrick, we're right in the middle of the fall run. Can you please give us an update, if you will, on calf prices and any impacts you're seeing on this market?
Yeah, thanks, Russell. Unprecedented is certainly the way to describe it. But, all things considered, we really have seen prices hold in there for calves here this year. We're certainly in that slow spot right now, and especially seeing a bit of pressure, due to those drier conditions, forcing some weaning on, some calves that may otherwise be held on a little bit longer, and a few less places to go. But calf prices are actually above year-ago levels and pretty well on par with what we saw, towards the lower end of those summer videos. So, all things considered, COVID considered, not too bad. And we do anticipate that as we get past this seasonal slow spot, we should see where prices firm up into the end of the year.
Well, to say it's been a wild year with the weather and the markets here in 2020 is a bit of an understatement. What's your advice, though, to cow-calf producers who are trying to make management decisions for 2021 now?
Yeah, well, first of all, in this industry, you can obviously only do as much as Mother Nature will allow. But, we do still think that there's, some liquidation going on across the cow-calf sector. So, if feed and weather and feed conditions allow for a certain producer, it might be a time to consider zigging while everyone else is zagging, in terms of expanding or at least maintaining your operation size. Because as we look towards tighter cattle supplies on down the road, that should mean for better prices as well over the next couple of years.
Yeah, well said. Patrick, in the midst of all the issues we've seen this year, what's happening with consumer demand for U.S. beef here and around the world?
Yeah, consumer demand, especially here domestically, has been surprisingly resilient, and we've been very pleasantly surprised how that's held in there. Retail has obviously had to do the bulk of the legwork, but and we saw retail prices shoot to record levels due to the COVID panic buying and tighter supplies that we saw. But even so, now that we've gotten supplies back to more normal levels, the consumer is still supporting prices at pretty normal levels, which is pretty impressive, all things considered. And another thing to think about is the consumer still not going out to eat at restaurants as much as normal, and so if the food budget's the same, that's still some extra money that can be allocated, especially to high quality products like beef, as they head into the grocery store. And in terms of international demand, that's continued to hold in there pretty well as well.
Well, indeed, that is some very good news. Now, with that said, is it too early to get a sense of the supply and demand trends for 2021 that may shape our cattle markets?
Yeah, as we look on down the road into 2021, I think generally optimistic is kind of the outlook there. As we get into the first quarter of the year, first several months, we'll still have some supply to work through in terms of cattle that didn't make it into feed yards earlier this spring and early summer. But as we transition into the middle towards the end of 2021, I'd say we're generally pretty optimistic there as well. The calf crop in last year was down about 250,000 head, and the USDA is estimating that this year's calf crop will be down about that much as well. So as we look towards tighter supplies, again, that should mean higher prices. And that's something that we should have recognized this year in terms of some higher prices from that smaller calf crop, but obviously COVID got in the way. So that should be pretty optimistic as we look towards next year.
All right, thanks a lot, Patrick, for being with us here on Cattleman to Cattleman, and we'll be keeping our fingers crossed that your market projections come true. For more than 5 decades now, CattleFax has been providing producers with all of the information they need to make profitable decisions. You can find out more about all they have to offer by visiting their website at CattleFax.com.